So can you tell me about a typical day in the medical centre?
We usually get a lot of people. If they could get out at pit early, it meant they would do. And I don't blame them one bit. But they used to come in and say, I've got dust in the eyes, sister. What protocol was, you look into the eyes, you check the vision, and you irrigate them. Well, they were just coming in and saying that and going, and I stopped it, you see. I says, protocol is, we do this. And we're having 40 or 50 men in. End of shit. And the lads were moaning because they used to have to, off they went, that'll do. So I said, we'll do protocol. So we did protocol. And this is where Sid Walker and I fell out because he was the union guy. And I says, I ain't got a problem with him coming out at pit early. They can get out at pit early, fine. But they're not insulting my intelligence. Anyway, eventually they stopped doing it. I mean, even manager said to me, he had me over with Sid Walker. And I said to him, I'm not doing it. They're not coming in, taking the piss. Not having it. I said, I haven't got a problem, I'm coming out at pit. Good luck to them if they can get out. Good luck, they can get out 20 minutes early. Why not? But they're not using me. So, anyway, we had one or two barneys, Sid Walker and I, but we got an understanding in the end. And then we started to, the medical centre attendants all left redundancy, because a lot of redundancies came after strike. So I got a new team in as well. And they're all trained up, they all went to do the underground training. And then I started doing MOTs, which is medicals for coming have they out, weight, urine, blood pressures, hearing tests, whatever I did. You get the people who's fit or who think they're fit. Them that know or are overweight, they avoided it. But we started doing that and we got some good results. And then Sid Walker, my friend, bought me a cholesterol testing kit, which we do in them days. So then I started doing cholesterol testing. I'd researched it and I'd wrote a protocol out for it. And I'd got consent forms and I'd got doctor's letters written if we found high cholesterol. And so we set off doing these. And that was quite successful. Men liked it, Union bought it, so they came in and we did cholesterol testing.
Can you tell me about your column in the Col News newspaper?
Well, I just used to do, if anything were current in the medical centre, or if I'm having a lot of, say, particular skin problems, or I would highlight it and ask them to pop in, or this month I'm going to do a blood pressure check. You men don't go to doctor. Just pop into the medical centre and get your blood pressure check. And we used to do things like that, you see. And MOTs and what have you. On one day I got this call from deputy manager to go to this meeting. And there were deputy manager, there were safety officer, there was me, and there was union. There might have been training officer as well. And the manager, David Malt, had given the deputy manager, I want to come off the bottom of the list. We need to find out what we're doing wrong. So we all had to go for a meeting, you see. And pure luck, the day before or the week before, I'd gone to a study day that was right equipment, right job. So it just fell into my lap. So they all thought I was very clever. And I said, that we need to look at people. We need to look at the jobs. We need to look at the ankle injuries we're having, and can we get higher boots and health and safety. Everything with one fit, one man, one fit. And we started, and gloves. you got 1 fit gloves. So we actually did a research into different boots, different gloves, eye and dust masks and things like that. And we started looking at where these accidents happen and why they happen. So we started training the men and getting them in. And we went from bottom to top. So I brought all that knowledge I gained from that course to the pit. Because the only bad thing about the pit, managers trained future managers. It wasn't a broad spectrum. And it depended on the person. But David Mole was very good, excellent. And we came top.
Can you describe what would happen if there was an accident?
Underground? Well, I'd put my rags on and go underground. You know, took my bag. And depending what it was, I mean, I went under a loads of times, loads. So-and-so, I think he's broke your leg, sister. You giving him any morphine? No, we don't want any. I said, well, tell him I'm coming down and my needle's bigger than them that's underground. Because you'd die shot, you see. If he hadn't had it, he had it when I got down there. I can remember once there was a lad who was a man who was working on the belts and they'd got a wheel and he'd got a bit of stick to clean this wheel off. And the engineer was at side of him and said, stop doing that, it's not safe. He said, I'm right. And he went and his hands went in this roller. Well, I went down, we gave him morphine, he come out to pit, got already organised some frozen peas to come out at canteen, and these hands, I thought, it's got to go to Derby, because the hand surgery was at Derby, it was then. So we wrapped him up as much as he could, phoned I took him as well, put a drip up on him, phoned the Derby Royal up, told him I was bringing in a man who'd got 2 severely injured hands. I needed an hand surgeon in A&E when we got there. We were on his way from Clipstone in Nottingham. And we took him there. He was dreadful, dreadful. Never used his hands again. Couldn't. One was partially used, other one was no good at all. In fact, I think he lost that one. I think he had a false one. But he had to come out, couldn't go back. Couldn't tell him, you see, it was sad really. And he was a nice chap, and he just took it in his, in his way of life and moved on with it. And then he had another one that he had a fall of ground on his back. And he was a paraplegic, he lost.
What do you mean by a fall of ground?
When you're underground, the ground above you is ground. So the roof fell in, it's fall of ground. Underground technology. He bent over, fall of ground on his back, severed his spinal cord, so he lost his legs.
Did you go down to him?
Yes, he went to Lodge Moor in End at Sheffield. And then there were loads of strokes and heart attacks. And
what would you do? What's the first you'd hear about it? Was there a telephone or what?
Telephone call telling me that there'd been an incident underground, and so he'd find out what it was, put me overalls on and my boots and my cap, and go over to the cabin and pick my belt up, and then there would be somebody at the cage waiting to go down with me. And they'd take me to wherever it was they'd got to go. And we'd treat them and bring them out. Most probably put a drip up underground. Because, you see, if it's a big accident, and like if they've cracked the femur, the blood from that fracture could kill them because they'd lose blood in, So they'd die from shock, so you put a drip up and give them morphine just to calm them down and get them out. And then I had a fatality. I was running both pits then. I just got home and I got a call to say, can I come to Clipstone pit? And and they'd had a washery plant, a mobile washery plant. You know, they used to wash in grade coal. Well, they'd had a mobile one on Clipstone site, although they'd got a washery, they'd had this extra one. And it was all out in open, and it was all coal coming up, being sorted, and it were on rollers. And this chap in charge went like that to get something off at roller, and his coat, which was open, caught in the roller and took him through it. Oh, it's dreadful. And I got up there and got onto the side, and he were hanging. And he must have known for that 10 seconds, however long it took. But I can remember going up to him, and I said, you need to get the coroner and police in and get him down. Yeah. And but he knew. He must have known, and I still think about him to this day. And I can remember going to his funeral, and he was married to a friend of mine. He was white, and she was Afro-American, and father from war, and an English mother. And they were all there, and I've never been to the first funeral I've ever been like it, where they did their own. And I think it was at Bramker, and Anne was there with her 2 sons. And I remember it was a very personal funeral, which you didn't have in them. You were still having vicars and things, but they had somebody in a spiritualist church, and these sung, and he went down to Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell. And every time I hear of it, I think of him Beasley. It's funny, isn't it, what things start with you.
So it seems like you're involved far outside of just...
Oh yeah, you're involved with
the medical
and social care. Yeah. Used to go out with social workers. I used to have a social worker at this work. And if I'd got something on, I'd just say, do you want to come with me? So if we could get them any more benefits or anything, to help them more aids, we'd do it. At Bilsthorpe, I was on call for Bilsthorpe Colliery because that sister was away. And we had a real roof full. And we'd got some dead people there. And called out today. It was horrendous, that was, really horrendous. So I went out there and I managed that. I didn't go underground, I managed it from surface. And other manager died, but I think there were a couple behind him as well that they managed to get out. So there were a lot of accidents, really. But gradually it became more preventative medicine, health and safety, preventative medicine, and redeploying people when they were in jobs that they couldn't manage anymore. You had to find them a job and redeploy them. And used to do all medicals for mines rescue people. They used to have an annual medical to make sure they were fit to work, as secondary rescue teams for incidents underground.
How would you manage some kind of accident underground when you're above? How would you do that?
Well, you'd be talking to somebody there, and you'd make the assessment on what they say, whether you go down or not. And you'd get the ambulance ready, because we had ambulances then, and you'd get the stretcher room ready. If it was serious, I'd go down every time, bring them out, because we had people trained up in the mines to give morphine, and we kept it underground. But a lot wouldn't give it. If the chap who was injured said, I don't want it, they wouldn't give it. Well, they didn't. I never asked them, they had it, because it could save their lives. So I said to him, so I used to go down more often than not for injury. But if it was an injury that could be brought out without me having to go down. Then we'd have the ambulance at the cage, you know, where they brought up at the bank, and bring them over to me. And we had to come over the road. This is what was different between us and other pits. And it had come, and we'd bring them into the medical centre, and then I'd assess them and see whether they needed to go to hospital or not. So it was just really triage and seeing what how best to manage it. And then in '89, some of sisters were made redundant, so I took on Rufford, Colliery and Clipstone, so I ran two. So I went to Rufford and was training them up as well to get up to bring the lads up to better standards. And they're all willing and they all wanted it. Yeah. And they've all gone on to good work anyway. Yeah.
So you, even though you were based at Clipstone, you would be on call for other pits in the area? And
Mine Rescue Station and Area Medical Centre. Yes.
So there was quite a bit of travelling, was there, for you?
Could have been, yeah.
How did you used to get there?
Go.
Did you drive yourself?
Yeah. And I can remember once, because I opened a book, people off at village, you must put down in this book, so we know. And I found out that this woman were bringing this child in, and I were never there, always when I'd gone home. So I was talking to this medical centre attendant about it. I says, coming in with these knocks and bruises, and I says, oh, is it suspicious, was it? What do you mean? I said, is somebody knocking this child around? So, anyway, I says, I'm only at top at village. If she's coming in, give me a call. I'll be down in 5 minutes. So they did, and I come down and I walked in, and I knew this girl. I said, hello, what are you doing here? My little girl's not well. And I looked at this little girl and I says, why ain't you took her to a doctor's? She'd got bruises. She said, well, I ain't got an appointment and medical centre's open, you see. So anyway, I treated her and looked at her, and she seemed, you know. So I took her home and I says, I will be telling the health visitor, and I will be telling the GP. And I went round and I told the health, because she was missing the National Health Service out completely by coming to us. So I said, we can't have this. Tell her, I said, you can't have it. You can't have kids who can't tell you what's happening being treated here. And kids, if they fall off the bike, would come, and we'd patch them up, send them on the way. But this brought on a whole new situation. And then I went round to the doctor's surgery the following morning and saw the doctor, saw the health visitor, and told him what I thought. And I took down all the time she'd been in. I said, I'm never at work. I said, and I've only picked it up because I've read through this book and turned back pages, because you just look at the page. And I turned back pages because we had been asked to how many outsiders come in. And I picked her up. I says, and I think this child's been abused. No evidence, but she's missing you, the health visitor, and she's missing the doctor out because we're treating this child. We won't be treated anymore. I told them that, so sorry. And we didn't, and we stopped it nationwide. You know.
Treating any outside?
Yeah.
Hey, I see.
Yeah. Kids, yeah. I mean, we used to have battered wives in. Used to come running down at middle at night and off at village. The husband had gave them a good hiding and they'd come down because they needed treating. And I said, it's got to stop. You know, they're missing the system. Ambulance went in the end. We had a long wheelbase Land Rover that a stretcher would fit in. So we used them and it was Clipstone pit that started it. No other, and if they could work at Clipstone, they'd work at every other pit, because we were over the road. So we had this Land Rover, and then we just called the ambulance if they needed to go, which, they did. So we had lots of fun. We used to have police calling, and I'd have a cup of tea, and I can remember at night, it was quiet at night, one of my medical room attendants had bought his lawnmower to service, to strip down and sort it out. And he said, I've stripped it all down, Pam. I said, I don't mind, as long as the work's done. You don't sit there twiddling your thumb. I said, I don't mind. I said, but you've got to be ready for work. So he said he'd got it stripped down in their little room, because he couldn't use the stretcher room. He'd got it stripped down. He says, put it all back together, clean it all up. He thought I'd check if it worked. So he wore this white doctor's coat, white coat what Fred's got on. And he's mowing the lawn in front of the medical centre. And this cop car went by, and all he could see was this white person going up and down. Didn't know what he was doing. And he did a Starsky Hutch turn and come back. We found this chap mowing lawn at 3 o'clock in the morning. So he became a regular night visitor for a cup of tea, which, nice, isn't it? You can build up relationships. I can remember there were a lad who rode a motorbike, and he were did wheelies. Anyway, he came in once because he'd come off and he'd scuffed his leg, and I said to him, we'll be coming to your funeral if you don't stop it. Following week he was dead. Come off his bike, he died. We had a lot of laughs as well. Always had Christmas do and went out, and had an happy bunch, really. It was an happy place to work, which is good. You want happy. You got happy staff, happy people working for you, then they do a good job. Lovely. If I had a problem with somebody and they won't come and visit him, I could ring him up and say, you've not heard it from me, but I think so-and-so needs attention. I need to sort it. They were very good.
It sounds like you were a real central part of the community.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we were. Yeah, we were. We were. Of course, we used to do at St John's, and St John's were attached to the pit. All the men at the pit paid two pennies a week to the Clipstone St John's ambulance, and so they had a male division and a female division, and boys and girls, and I used to do training with them, so we used to train them. And then after, during 83, 84, 85 strike, they had the St John's Hut, which was an old army camp hall. It was on the side of the football field in the middle of the village, and it just got destroyed after the strike, because I think it had been, ruined, really, neglected, but they never went back, and it just sort of disbanded.
Can you tell me about the canteen?
Yeah, they were lovely girls in canteen, lovely women. And a big canteen, and of course people used to come off the village and come in there for a cup of tea, and because they used to cook our Christmas dinner for us, and we'd have it at medical centre. So and they sold Pithead bath soap. Everybody bought Pithead bath soap. It was palm olive soap, but it said PHB on it, and it was hard soap. It didn't run away. It didn't melt in water. You know what I mean? It lasts. So the kids could take it in baths and it wouldn't melt away. And they sold flask, and first place to sell stainless steel flasks. They were about £30 a flask when they first came out. I mean, you get them for about £4 now, don't you? And socks, pit socks, and snuff. a lot of men smoke snuff, especially when they're underground. They'd sniff snuff because they couldn't smoke underground, you see. And pithead bath soap and pit socks, towels.
The canteen. This was the canteen that sold all
they
these.
wanted socks and towels, didn't they? And if they forgot, yeah. They cooked meals, breakfasts and dinners, pie and chips, or stuff like that. Big canteen it was.